It's a really common misconception that if you sit down and just play through Hanon, that your technique is going to be fixed and that you're going to have finger independence and hand coordination, and that all of a sudden you're going to have all of these capabilities that you didn't have before. Looking at the Hanon exercises, when you read the introduction by Hanon, he makes quite the claims. He tells you that pianists and teachers who cannot find the time for sufficient practice to keep up their playing need only play these exercises a few hours to regain their technique. All difficulties will disappear, and that beautiful, clean, clear execution will have been acquired, which is the secret of distinguished artists. And this is where I am going to pretty adamantly disagree with Hanon. Let's dive in and talk about the 3 things that are going to kill your technique progress with Hanon. In order to truly get the benefits of practicing Hanon exercises, you have to do so with a certain amount of mindfulness and focus. So the first thing that kills your technique with Hanon is to play too much, too fast. So if you follow Hanon's directions and you try to play through this entire book and spend an hour a day on technique, it's going to completely kill your technique. First of all, because you simply cannot focus in an effective way for an hour on the exact same thing. So I would never recommend practicing more than one of these exercises at a time. And I would also never recommend that you practice any technical exercise for longer than a few minutes per practice session. Hanon does tell you in these exercises to start slower with the metronome, like I think he suggests 60 BPMs for 4/16 notes, but that's not very slow. And I would say that 99% of the adults that I work with have to start even slower than that, perhaps at 40 BPMs. The other thing that happens when you try to go too fast or when you try to do too many exercises all at once is you'll skip over the foundations of proper technique. And because these are technical exercises, there's this idea that practicing them will give you a good sense of technique, but that's not the case. You actually have to really make sure that you are approaching the exercises with proper technique in order for them to be effective. So you're going to want to make sure that when you start out with these exercises and you're going slow, that you're playing on your fingertips, you're playing on the edge of the keys, you're sitting at the proper height. And if you're not certain about exactly what the elements of proper piano technique are, I will link in the description to a video where I take you through the exact positioning at the piano and proper technique so that you can set yourself up with that solid foundation to get the benefits of the exercises. Now, the second thing that you can do that will kill your technique progress with Hanon is to look at individual notes. These exercises are full of patterns. And if you've practiced them before, you've probably noticed that they're usually a pattern that's like 8 notes long, and that pattern will just repeat going over and over and over up the keyboard and then going down the keyboard. And every time you start one of these exercises, you will be able to move through it with significantly more speed if when you look at it for the very first time, you start to find the patterns. What are the intervals? What is that pattern that's getting repeated over and over? How does the little turnaround at the top work? And then what is the pattern coming down? Now, the third thing that you can do to kill your technique progress with Hanon is to use individual fingers when you play. And this is a really sneaky one because I would say that 99% of adult piano players that are guilty of this are not aware that they are doing it. This means that when you're playing, you are lifting each finger and pressing each key as though every single note on the page and every single key on the piano exists alone as an island. And for starters, this is not proper technique. And also, as long as you approach these exercises this way, or really anything that you're playing this way, you're not ever going to achieve that speed or fluidity in your playing. It's always going to sound a little bit robotic and a little bit uneven. When you are working on the Hanon exercises, and in general, when you're working on anything when it comes to piano, you want to be thinking about how you can utilize your arm movement to help you not have to use individual finger movements. So for example, in the very first exercise, I'm going to rotate my wrist to help me get over the interval of a third and to really support my 4th and 5th finger and to ensure that all of the notes are even. You can see how much I'm utilizing my arm and my elbow. My elbow is doing this outward motion to help guide my fingers up the keys, and my wrist is not stiff. It's very flexible so that I can help get around the weaker fingers like the 4th and the 5th finger. But if you need some more help when it comes to technique, I'm going to link to an hour-long live stream that I did where I cover all the foundations of proper piano technique. And I'm also going to link to my Facebook group because that's a great place to post videos, get feedback, and connect with me a little bit more so that I can help you and make sure that you have the proper foundations for piano technique to get the best sound out of the piano. You can watch that live stream and join that Facebook group right here.